All Progressives Congress campaign train passes through Kano and Lagos states. INEC releases list of candidates for governorship, state houses of assembly and FCT in the 2019 elections. Plus, 9.3 million pupils joined the National Homegrown School Feeding Program in Edo State. Hello and welcome to Panorama on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Ian Ray John. The APC presidential campaign team, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, has birthed in the ancient city of Kano. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi monitored the campaign and now reports.
Business and other activities were put on hold in the commercial city of Kano when the APC took its presidential campaign to the famous city. President Muhammadu Buhari, who spoke in Hausa language, said his administration is working hard to bridge the gap in the provision of adequate infrastructure across the country. He said the APC-led government remains committed to consolidating on the gains of its previous campaign promises, with specific emphasis on progress made in tackling insecurity, improving the economy, and boosting agriculture.
The promise we made in the area of security, there is now peace in the northeast, with normal life and commercial activities going on peacefully. On agriculture, farmers, through government various intervention programs, is yielding results of food security. There is decrease in food importation, particularly rice.
Other party faithful acknowledged the show of support by the people of Kano State and assured them that APC is a party for the progressives' minds, whose sole vision is to provide quality service to the people.
Mr. President, you came, you saw, you conquered. And we as APC, we are proud. We have no need to rig any election. We do not even have the know-how on how to rig election.
My friend and former colleague said that the former government of President Goodluck Jonathan had paid all the money for the railways before we came. It is not correct. If they had paid all the money, the contractors would have completed the job.
Some top politicians in Kano State who defected into the APC were formally received, while party flags were presented to the candidates. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
It was excitement for the people of Kano when President Muhammadu Buhari returned to the center of commerce to secure his political base as the general elections draw closer. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari is not only endeared but highly revered in Kano State. As the people always say, Kano is where the umbilical cord of the Nigerian leader resides and therefore the pivot of his political trajectory. No wonder, therefore, it was a total shutdown in the city of Kano as the president arrived to seek understanding and cooperation for his re-election bid. Simply put, the show of support, adoration, and goodwill was not only massive but intimidating. For over over 12 years, the people of Kano kept faith with President Muhammadu Buhari and therefore was victorious in all the presidential polls he contested, no matter his opponents. In the last presidential primaries alone, for instance, where only card-carrying members of the APC participated, the president secured about 3 million votes. Consequently, what to expect in the general elections is therefore better imagined. As for Kano, President Muhammadu Buhari is a phenomenon.
Buhari's issue is just God, because he has a clear and clean heart and goodwill to serve Nigeria in the best interest of moving Nigeria forward. People love Buhari. We all love him, and we'll continue to support him.
It has always been like this. Buhari is touching some of the key and sensitive aspects of the life of the people of Kano State. That is why we must have to come out en masse, assure him our political commitment, our electoral support for him, and by February 16th, I want to assure you, Kano will be the #1 state to deliver Muhammadu Buhari and every other candidate under the platform of the APC.
As a result of the increasing sea of humanity in both tempo and fervor, the planned inauguration of some people-oriented projects executed by the Ganduje administration had to be put off. President Muhammadu Buhari, however, paid homage on the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, who described the relationship between the president and the people of Kano, especially the royalty, as far beyond politics. He commended the president for the giant strides recorded so far in the social investment schemes, particularly the school feeding, as well as conditional cash transfer programs for the poorest of the poor.
And we pray that at the end, God will choose leaders and representatives that will move this country forward.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, it was another opportunity to say thank you to the people of Kano for keeping faith with the governing APC, as well as sustained support, understanding, and cooperation for his political aspirations. He once again reassured them, and indeed Nigerians, that he will never betray their trust and confidence, saying changing Nigeria for the good of all is a task that must be done. From Kano, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And moving to Lagos now, the All Progressives Congress, APC in Lagos State, has held its mega rally in Ikorodu with a promise to take the Center of Excellence to the next level. The state chairman of the party, Babatunde Balogun, made an official presentation of the APC flag to all candidates vying for positions in the forthcoming general elections before the highly elated crowd of supporters.
To hand over the APC flag to Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the APC candidate in Lagos State for 2019 gubernatorial election.
That was the official presentation of the APC flag to the governorship candidate Babatunde Sanwo-Olu and his deputy Babafemi Hamzat in the full glare of party faithful at Ipakodo in Ikorodu. The Lagos State Governor, Akin Ambode, represented by his deputy, Oluranti Adebule, enjoined the people of Ikorodu to come out en masse on election day to vote for all APC candidates.
They are reliable. They are dependable.
The APC governorship candidate, Babatunde Sanwo-Olu, and his deputy, on behalf of other candidates of the party, promised to embark on more infrastructural projects that will transform Ikorodu and environs. One unique feature of the rally was the presence of security agents within and outside the venue of the rally to maintain law and order. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress says its efforts towards providing the desired leadership for the development of the country is visible in the way President Muhammadu Buhari is selflessly piloting the affairs of the country. National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Lanre Isao Nilu, at a press conference in Abuja stated the party's plan to build on the foundation of effective governance by consolidating on the gains recorded so far. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi brings us details.
Televised town hall meeting.
The APC spokesperson reaffirms the party's belief in the supremacy of the nation's laws as the embodiment of code of conduct for political parties and those who pilot their activities in a democratic society. as campaigns for the forthcoming general elections hot up. The party is using this medium to re-echo their commitment to translate its policies to the people on its achievements and plans beyond 2019. He was emphatic that the renewed relations with foreign nations by the Buhari administration is worthy.
For the All Progressives Congress, we will not get tired of reminding the PDP that Nigerians will not return to Egypt. The era of unbridled corruption and impunity is one mission the President Muhammadu Buhari-led government is determined to fight and win under a free, fair, and credible electoral process with the support of well-meaning Nigerians, and would follow all the legal means to ensure that our candidates stand for elections in this 2019 general elections in Zamfara. Same situation for Rivers.
He said the party's campaign messages of sustaining the current developmental stride are clear to the electorate, who are sure to be part of the change mantra. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And still talking politics, the governorship candidate of the Allied People's Movement, APM, Adekunle Akinlade, has enjoined electorate in Ogun State to vote massively for the party and President Muhammadu Buhari at the polls. The APM governorship candidate stated this while rolling out a 7-point agenda for the state during his campaign tour of the 236 wards in the state. Correspondent Mohammed Adibawali reports.
Ahead of the forthcoming general elections, APM governorship candidate in Ogun State, Honorable Adekunle Akinlade, has been reaching out to people across the 20 local government areas of the state, reeling out his vision and mission. Most importantly, the need to sustain the mission to rebuild the state as embarked upon by the present administration. The campaign tour around the entire 236 wards afforded him the opportunity to have a first-hand information on the peculiar challenges confronting various communities in a bid to address them if elected, and as well identify the potentials that are bound in those areas that could aid economic development. With a 7-point agenda that needs to extend courtesy of development to rural areas, as this will play a pivotal role in the economic blueprint of his government.
Very clearly we know that there's a blueprint, a 25 years blueprint in all the sectors, because of course we're looking at continuity in Ogun State, and what we just added to it is ICT and to trade and investment.
At a meeting with business class in Ogun State, Honorable Akinlade promised to come up with a modem that will aid ease of doing business in the state, most especially for the SMEs, and improve on youth empowerment opportunities. In Abeokuta, Mohammed Adibawale, NTA News.
And away from the southwest, the People's Democratic Party Vote Mobilizers, a support group, is sensitizing the electorate, especially the party supporters, on the need to vote correctly in the forthcoming elections. This was at a workshop on voter education held in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
With the theme effective mobilization of eligible voters, the PDP mobilizers believe that it is imperative to sensitize the electorate, especially in view of the increased number of political parties that would be on the ballot paper in the coming elections compared with past elections.
Our political structure is that which must be able to show the world that things are done well and things are done with just. Things are done the way it is done globally.
Mobilization and the importance of awareness dissemination of election process, party loyalty, commitment and dedication, working the talk for victory are among the key task areas of discussion. Meanwhile, the Kogi State People's Democratic Party stakeholders on the 2019 general election at a media briefing in Abuja has called on the General Abdul Salami Abubakar National Peace Committee, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and the Inspector General of Police and other election stakeholders to pay special attention to Kogi State. The resolution is born out of their belief that the state is a flashpoint for electoral violence. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And staying with the 2019 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released a list of candidates for the governorship, state houses of assembly and the Federal Capital Territory elections, scheduled for March 2nd, 2019. Mia Ogidi reports on the content of the list and states that may not participate.
The sweet, bitter taste of the 2019 general elections manifests at almost every stage of the electoral process. and the display of the list of governorship and state houses of assembly candidates is not an exception. After several hours of deliberations on legal issues, INEC approved 1,066 candidates fit for the governorship elections, 14,583 for the state houses of assembly, and 806 for chairmanship and councillorship elections for the area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. Great news for those who are successful, but not a pleasant one for the APC family in Zamfara State, as INEC maintains its position on not accepting the candidates list from Zamfara State after reviewing conflicting judgments of two courts of coordinate jurisdiction. The APC family in Rivers State also received the same fate.
Party, the APC, cannot field candidates in the election. So the party is by court order prohibited from participating in the elections and from sponsoring candidates. That is the judgment at the moment, and we have complied.
I, Elder Monday Udontom.
Governorship elections in Bayelsa State will be coming up by December this year, and INEC has started preparing already, as Monday Udontom has been sworn in as the resident electoral commissioner of Bayelsa State.
You must be very firm and courageous on the side of the law, as well as our regulations and guidelines at all times.
As the countdown continues, the political scene is getting more interesting. Mie Ogidi, NT News.
Many thanks, Mie. And if you just joined us, you're watching Panorama live on NTA. More news after the break.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Glad to have you back. Edo State has joined the League of States that have adopted the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, with 9.3 million pupils being currently fed daily across 26 states. At a flag off in Benin City, capital of the state, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the impact of the program on the nation is multifaceted and government is poised to take it to the next level. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
1 major contribution that the National Homegrown School Feeding Program
would have on the state is that it would assist it to enhance the ongoing Edo basic education sector transformation. Presently, there are more than 11,000 pupils in the state public primary schools, and the program may further lead to a boost in this population, provide jobs for more women, and better the economy of farmers. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo speaks more on the impact the program has on the nation.
Homegrown school feeding means that almost every week they will kill 594 cows, 138,000 chickens, and 6.8 million eggs, 83 metric tons of fish every single week, every week. So everybody who is involved in the program, there is a major benefit for the country.
The revolution that Edo Best has brought about in our basic education system is going to transform the future.
The Vice President, before leaving Benin, flags off a campaign of National Assembly candidates of the All Progressives Congress, where he called on the people to vote for the party in all the elections.
Let us be very solid. Let us stand firm. Everything it takes to be able to make our country the best in Africa and one of the best in the developing world. APC!
In Benin City, Edo State, Jude Onifade, NT News.
And from Benin, we head to Ondo, where the All Progressives Congress, APC, says if re-elected, it will establish an entrepreneurial bank which will enable innovators access credit to start businesses. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this during a campaign tour of some parts of Ondo Central Senatorial District. The report.
From the palace of the Owa of Idonre, Oba Frederick Aroloye, through the streets of the ancient hilly town, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and the APC campaign team got rousing ovation. In Akure, the capital of Ondo State, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo paid homage to the Deji of Akure, Oba Aladetoyinbo Oladelusi, where he promised job creation for unemployed Nigerian youths, which he said have been hampered by long years of corruption in the system.
That's one of the reasons why we're unable to do the things that we thought we'll do, infrastructure and all of those things. I mean, we're earning 60% less than the previous government, 60% less, yet we're spending 2.7 trillion in 2 budget cycles on capital. That's the highest in the history of the country. How come? How come when we had money, there was no infrastructure? But we're also looking at more concrete opportunities, you know. So we're talking about the Entrepreneurial Bank to set up a bank which enables innovation or innovators to access credit.
At the Isika market in Akure, where the federal government facilitated a public-private solar power scheme, the market women expressed support for the APC government.
I'm supporting this government because it's fighting corruption. I'll vote for Osinbajo and Buhari. I love APC.
And we also want to be able to give small businesses, you know, medium and medium-scale businesses as well, real opportunities to be able to access credit and do more work.
And my confidence is very strong that the Southwest is going to perform better than it was in the last election. They are quite appreciative of what Mr. Ben has been able to do over the past three and a half years. They are very confident that the formula at the moment is working for the Yoruba people and they don't want to change it.
The APC house-to-house campaign in Ondo State was greeted with enthusiasm in all the places visited by the Vice President. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
And away from politics now, the Nigerian Television Authority says it will continue to embrace any initiative that will contribute to national unity and development in the country. Executive Director, Administration and Training, Mr. Steve Egbo, gave the assurance to members of the Association of Entrepreneurs and Technology Managers of Nigeria at a meeting at the corporate headquarters of the NTA.
Economic diversification is one of the policy thrusts of the present administration in its quest to take the nation to the next level. The association has been in the forefront of promoting public and private partnership. The group has also been involved in organizing and coordinating entrepreneurship as well as information technology programs for sustainable growth.
We are therefore appealing to the Director General of the NTA to grant us a hand of fellowship as media partners to sensitize and advocate for the success of this program. Within the 3 years, this collaboration with the federal government will last.
It is our responsibility to bring these vital ingredients of national development to the front burner of both where decisions are made and the key stakeholders that ought to know what we are supposed to do. So I want to assure you on behalf of the DG and management of NTA that we will keep our doors open.
The Executive Director, Administration and Training, Steve Ebo, who represented the Director General of the NTA, assured the members that NTA will also partner them by providing the platforms to showcase their activities.
And now talking sports, Flying Eagles in high spirit ahead of the 2019 Under-20 AFCON kickoff in Niamey on Saturday as football scouts target 50 young talents in Abuja. Kene Imagbadike tells us more.